this thing on? Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. I think we're working. And if we are, wonderful. If we're not, I'll scream afterwards. My name is G. We're going to look at the astrology for the week of September 18th. That's kind of freaky. Like, I thought September just began, and here we are, more than halfway through the month. Holy smokes. So here we go, the week of. Let's get it on the screen, nice, big, bad, and bold so you can see it right there. September 18th, 2023. So I have Neptune drawn out here, and I have it in two different colors for a reason. Because Neptune represents our perception. Our perception. We look at something, we see it, we have an idea or a belief about it. Sounds familiar, sounds a little bit like Jupiter. That's because Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces. What the hell does Pisces have to do with this? Right out of the gate, G's trying to confuse you. I'm really not. I'm trying to kind of show you the end while I'm showing you the beginning. And at the same time, I'm kind of throwing in some of the history. Okay. We had the 12 signs of the zodiac. At that time, the planet Jupiter was given the rulership of the sign of Pisces. So many times today, when we think of Pisces energy, we can see the connections to Jupiter energy. And so many times that's why astrology can be really confusing, because if you look at it long enough, you see the overlapping similarities and keywords for some of the symbology. And that's where it becomes like, well, wait a minute, you just said this. You just said Neptune ruled Pisces. But right now you're telling me that Jupiter ruled Pisces. It did rule it. And some astrologers, myself included, think that it's relevant to include both rulerships. So that takes us back to over here with Neptune. Neptune, when it was discovered, this isn't a history lesson, so I'm not going to throw up dates and stuff, and there's not going to be a test at the end. So please, if you've got additional information you want to add to the value of this video and put it in the comments below, go right on ahead. I welcome that at all times. The double color is because of the perceptions. So we could even say that Pisces energy, Neptune, right, is about our eyes, the ability to see something and to form a belief about it. But it is also about the believing without having to see, without using the physical eyes. And for some folks, depending upon the circles that you're in, you may have that belief system that I have my third eye, or I can see without using my eyes. I can have certain perceptions. I have my sensitivities elevated enough, extrasensory perceptions that they have. And then there's some folks who have all those faculties and then some, right? And so they're aware of those things. Pisces is a highly sensitive sign. And so we attribute that to Neptune and Pisces. And yes, dare I say Jupiter, high levels of sensitivity. Pisces is known as the sponge of the zodiac. And I'm throwing all the words together, like I'm using them simultaneously, because wherever you see Pisces in your chart, Neptune rules it. That's never going to disappear. That's never going to change. So what that means in your chart, regardless of where your Pisces is, Neptune rules it. We're talking about perceptions, the duality of those perceptions. And that's why I came in with two colors for Neptune, for the planet, right? And so I could even go ahead and get the color blue and draw Jupiter that way, just to kind of hit home this point, which is there might be a little bit of a duality going on, because duality means, well, the left side of me or the right side of me, or depending upon my mood, or depending upon how I'm physically feeling, depending upon what side of the bed I woke up on, depending upon if it's sunrise or sunset, right? Depending upon sweet and salty, north and south, east and west, depending upon those differences, my perceptions may sway from day to day, depending upon my level of sensitivities, may sway from day to day, depending upon how I feel about a person, place, or thing. Okay. And so, because Pisces is super sensitive, because Pisces, that's the sign of Pisces. Let me draw it in here and make it a little bit bigger and bolder. Because it is super sensitive, it's the sponge of the zodiac. We may be able to perceive and to pick up on things that others may not. Does that mean it's always 100% spot on accurate? Well, that's, I guess, a video for another time, because truth seems to be within the eye of the beholder, kind of like beauty. Is truth within the eye of the beholder? Possibly. But then aren't there those like eternal truths that, like, through the sands of time, and no matter what happens, it was true 200 years ago, it was true 400 years ago, it was true 600 years ago, and it's still true today. Some of those sort of truths, right? Those things. And guess what? Those sort of things, they go above and beyond politics. And I'm using the word politics because Pisces energy has had a lot to do with politics. It's the energy of, I can perform. I can give a good performance. I can put on a good show. I can be persuasive, even though I'm highly sensitive. But I can be highly sensitive because I am persuasive, possibly, to what you're feeling and what your needs may be. Or because I can feel what's important to you, because I can feel what you desire, I know what to say. And so this is kind of like a Pisces deep dive, right? And so we think of actors, actresses, music, and sound. What are the different ways that we are persuaded? How to smell, taste, touch? How do those things affect how we feel? How do they persuade, right? Motion pictures, movies, YouTube, certain personalities, certain voices, certain public figures. Public figures. All these keywords all fall under. You can write these symbols. You can write down Neptune, you can write down Jupiter, and you can write down Pisces. And all these keywords will apply to all three of these. That is an astrology secret right there. Okay. And that's what makes astrology difficult. And that's what also makes life so damn complex, so damn beautifully complex. Because for us to try to predict it, it's like, huh? I didn't see that coming, right? And that's kind of this thing, Pisces, and perceptions, and the duality, the rose-colored glasses. How many times do you see the politicians say one thing and then all of a sudden they say something else? They campaign on one thing and they get into office and it turns out to be something else. Or they're not even up for an election and they can say one thing one day, and 2 days later, they say something different. This isn't to give Pisces energy a bad rap, because then some of the beautiful keywords of Pisces energy are like prayer, meditation, and they are these great performances, music. When you go to a concert, think Pisces. Yes, Pisces. It's, of course, water. Can't forget that. It's mutable water. Mutable, meaning I'm flexible and changeable. Water, emotional. Easily swayed, meaning I can change directions. Great performances, actors and actresses, and yes, some public figures. Now, what the hell does this have to do with September 18th and then the week of September 18th? Well, Virgo energy. We know that we have been in Virgo. And for the weekly readings, I've been going and doing the moon and the sun, and we'll get to those. I've got them all drawn out at the top of the chart. We'll get to them. So this week, we're starting off with Pisces because of all the Virgo energy, because of all the planets in Virgo. And we know they were all Mercury. We know, God knows, I haven't stopped talking about Mercury because look where Mercury is. At 8 degrees. Mercury is at 8 and the color is in black. So it's retrograde ended. And we saw that on the last video that Mercury was going to be standing still. It was slowing down. It was going to stand still and go forward, which means it's moving direct. Got it? Which means it moves forward. And it goes to where? You guys should have this memorized by now. It gets to 22 degrees. And when Mercury gets to 22, we're in the all clear zone, right? But it's not there yet this week. It's not there yet. Mercury has to travel back. It's this week, it starts at 8. So what does this have to do with Neptune? Well, do you see where the sun is on this day? The chart began at September 18th. And look where Neptune is. Neptune in Pisces, across the way. It's at 26. Which means the sun is in an opposition at the very beginning of this week, which is why we began talking about Pisces and Neptune and Jupiter first. There's an opposition, okay? And so the sun can be an authority figure in your life, can be mom and dad, can be boss at the job. It can be your energy, right? In the last video, I did a deep dive on that, talked about the sun, how it is our physical energy, and it's going to be what's going to be highlighted and what's lit up in our world and what we're focused on. And because Virgo is the spotlight, we're in Virgo season, meaning most of the planets, the personal planets are traveling through Virgo. It highlights all the Virgo keywords. And we're just going to stay big when I talk about this because last week's video went deep dive on Virgo, and we're just going to talk about the details, the nitty gritty, the minutia, Virgo, the boring stuff. It's not flashy. It's plain Jane, right? Some people get bored with the Virgo stuff because it's not real exciting. So someone who's an authority figure might not seem real exciting, might be kind of a stickler for details, right? Virgo does tend to be about healthcare and daily routines, my health habits, the job, the projects at your job, the tasks at your job, being neat and orderly in the calendar and structuring can be highly domestic and maybe even domestics, meaning people who literally work in the home world environment. So that could be cleaning, that could even be building, that could be gardening and landscaping. Right? There's a whole lot harvesting. Like there's a lot of different ways Virgo energy can show up. Not to mention our furry friends, our furry family members as well. Okay. So the sun in Virgo 2538 right at the beginning of the week opposing Neptune, opposing Jupiter, opposing Pisces. You get it? Now, some of the key words that I didn't mention about Pisces that are vital for this, because the sun is our energy, and Pisces is the opposite of that. Pisces is sleep and dreams. So when the sun opposes Neptune, which it will, let me draw that in. Let me go big for you, a bold opposition. All right. So you're going to be feeling this. You might even have felt this on that Sunday, September 17th. The sun opposing Neptune and Pisces. Pisces has the ability to, I just want to sleep in. I just wanted to sleep all day. Felt so good. I didn't want to get out of bed. My dreams were so awesome. Like these are some keywords. These are some things of how that might show up in your life. Okay. So that could have began on September 16th, 17th, 18th. By the 19th, so the sun moves 7 degrees, right? Because it's 7 days and it moves 1 degree a day. That's what we learned last week, right? We did a deep dive on that. You remember? So if it's at 25, then this tells us that in 7 days' time, it'll be roughly around the 25th, right? and we're going to be in the early degrees of Libra. So we're going to say the sun, look, it's right. It's going to be right where Pallas Athena is. I'm going to draw the sun, leave the sun right here, right by Pallas Athena in the sign of Libra. So it's going to change where it focuses its energy. It's going to change what the light is shining on, what is just lit up in our world and in our lives. This is big time Libran energy. Libra and his partnerships. Remember, it is also lawyers and the courtroom, the law. This is Lady Justice. The scales of balance are right there. These are the scales of justice. That's what that Libran energy represents. Fair, things being fair, equal, and balanced. Diplomatic energy. Who can I go and talk to? How can I work things out? Let's meet somewhere in the middle. Libra energy. Diplomacy. Remember, Mars is still here. You see this week. On this day, it's at 14. So Mars already being there and the South Node. There's Mars. And there's the South Node. Looks like a horseshoe, right? So we've got a lot of energy shifting into Libra. The sun is now in Libra. We can say Libra season has begun. Below the video, I'll have all the degrees for those of you who like to pay attention to the degrees in your chart. Again, if you don't know and you want to know, just comment below.